Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test. I think I'm good. All right. Good morning, my super truckers. It's Christian with Super Trucker Podcast. I got Luna as my sidekick today. It is Wednesday. Time to grind. All right, it's technical difficulty. Here we go, guys. It's Christian with Super Trucker Podcast, Voyager Nation, coming to you live. We do this Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. My sidekick Luna is still sleepy, but nevertheless, we're going to bring the show to you. So what we do is, again, we're a carrier, and we put good information out there for owner operators to be, or actually current owner operators who are looking to improve their situation. And we got tons of information. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell icon, which gets you all the latest videos notified to you that they're coming out. So here we go. All right. So what we do is we gather questions across all social media platforms that we have, make a nice list, and we go over them on a daily basis. Again, most of them are probably going to be on the recruiting side of things. And so here we go. All right. So looking to get started right away. A couple of the questions that are out there are as follows. Do you give priority freight to company trucks or owner operators first? So here's the sweet thing. We actually are 100% owner operator. So what happens there is there's actually no company trucks to compete with. We think we've always had it this way. I think it's a better scenario that way, that you, as an owner operator, you are priority and you are the main customer. So that is the reasoning behind that. And we've never looked to stray from that. So if you're stuck in that position where you find yourself competing with company trucks and you're getting the short end of the stick, for sure, give us a call at 863-342-5171. We're always looking for owner operators to partner up with, and I'm sure we can improve your situation. All right. Let me get question number 2. Let me get some caffeine before we jump into that. All right, guys. So can I pick the regions I like to run, or do I have to prove myself first? All right, so we never hold any good opportunities hostage for somebody to prove themselves. So it's for us, I believe, is going to be quite the opposite. So you're always going to be offered the best of the best, no matter what. That's what the dispatchers are going to do. But going back to the first part of your question, can I pick the regions I like to run? Yes, absolutely. That is not a problem. What we do is we customize the dispatch for every owner operator. Everybody runs a little bit different. So some guys will keep it tight, regional. Some guys will run, like the Midwest. Some guys Northeast. Everybody's a little bit different. So we do allow that to happen. It's about the relationship you have with your owner operator in order to get the best paying freight, right? And access to that is that communication, which we'll dive into in a little bit because it has to do with a different question. But yes, you can definitely pick the regions you like to run, except for 2 locations. We don't touch California, don't go there, and we do not touch Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan. So nothing on that island. So that's our general rule. Other than that, everything else is pretty much on the table. All right. So, or do I have to prove myself first? I don't know what that would stem from, but let me tell you how we do it here. Perhaps some dispatcher at his current company right here is holding him hostage, or like holding good opportunities hostage from him. So the way we do it is you're always going to be offered the best of the best of what's out there. And the way we prove ourselves is actually as we're working together. It's not what we say, it's what we do. So the dispatcher is actually going to want to pre-book you. So he's want to preload you as far out as he possibly can. And if you had to prove yourself, if we're talking about that, it's really going to be how, when you guys are getting to know each other, are you showing up on time? How is the compliance on the safety side with everything? And are you sending the bill of lading? So really, is this plug and play for everyone where you're really about your business and you require minimal supervision because you know exactly what time it is? I mean, just think about it. Whenever you switch from one company to another, a few things change, but trucking is trucking. at the end of the day. So, acclimating to certain policies and procedures is one thing, but understanding trucking is another. So as we're moving together and working together, the first 2 weeks I would say is that learning curve where it's not necessarily this type of situation where you're saying like, hey, I got to prove myself, but the dispatcher has to earn your trust too, and the dispatcher wants to earn your trust through actions, through being able to book quality loads, through also fixing problems, because trucking happens, right? This is the perfect time that you get to see what this dispatcher is about and why he's different than your average cat. All right. How he forecasts problems that are about to happen, solving them before they actually do. So that's all part of it anyway, that you're going to have in that first 2 weeks. All right, so moving on to number 3. What is the balance of short hauls versus long hauls? It's not that necessarily there's a goal in mind to actually hit this and say, hey, you have to have a certain amount of short hauls and a certain amount of long hauls. It's just what opportunity is bringing. It just depends on how the individual is running and what the financial goal is, and being creative to hit those financial goals. So the dispatcher is open to just whatever makes sense, and we're hoping that owner operator is open as well. So it really just has to be on what makes sense this week in order to hit the goal. Because remember, the consistency to this game is going to be running and getting your miles in, right? That's the pieces that you can control. The rates are volatile, as we all know. Nobody controls that. So to answer the question, it's either or. Some guys like to run shorter miles, just in their mind. They just do a lot better that way. I have guys who like to do longer miles. I've heard also some of my guys tell me because they deal with less shippers and receivers by doing the longer miles. So in their mind, less things can go wrong. So that's just a different point of view to look at it. And again, what we do here is just we just share content. As far as trucking goes, we're for owner operators to be, so that they can consider all of these things before they jump in and become an owner operator. And it gives them the opportunity to actually view things in a different perspective, just so that their level of success can increase. So that's what it's about, putting good information in front of good people. So make sure you like, share, subscribe. If you're not already, do so. Hit that bell icon so you get the latest and greatest content that gets dropped. All right. Is your lease agreement short term or long term? Can I walk away easily? I would say it's short term. Pretty much anywhere you're going to lease on, the contract is going to be about a year. And again, can I walk away easily? Yeah, yes, you can. But however, so to dissect this question a little bit, not exactly sure why that's important. Not sure what burnt this guy. There is a process to walk away. It's just good business practice. And we'll dive into that, where yes, you can walk away easily. It doesn't necessarily mean that, these contracts don't mean you have to work here exclusively for a year. You're getting hauled into court. Just every contract has a start date and an expiration date. And then that's what it would be, right? So, but yes, you can walk away easily. Just I would say, for that, don't make that just a habit. You just got to ask yourself, are you doing your part and doing what's necessary? Now, if the carrier isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing, and obviously your business is getting hurt, then that's a different story. But just be cautious with that. All right, here we go. Do you auto renew contracts, or do you need to re-sign yearly? We believe in keeping it simple, so they're just going to auto renew. The only time somebody's going to probably initial an addendum or something like that is actually in these upcoming days. We actually have 2 owner operators. They went ahead and purchased their own trailer, so they're leveling up their business. Congratulations to them. We always love to see people improve their situation, and that's actually happening this week. So these guys will initial on their contract, going from 75% payout to an 85% payout. So yeah, at that point they do have to resign. But other than that, if everything stays the same, it's just auto renewing itself and just keeping it simple. All right. Um, Here we go. Are there hidden fees in the contract that I should watch out for? All right. So if put that in the comments, guys. What kind of hidden fees have you been hit with? That you didn't see in the contract, and let's talk about that. Is somebody put that up in the comments to see how hidden it was, or what the situation may be. All right, sorry about that. All right, so no, we do not hide anything in the contract. As a matter of fact, part of orientation is going over the contract together, page by page. We're highlighting things. We're notifying everybody of what the deductions look like, and so there are no hidden fees. Now, what happens is somebody can get amnesia, selective amnesia, and maybe forgets that there is a deductible or something like that because it's been 6 months or something. But no, our initial orientation, we're highlighting everything. We're going through it page by page. We're answering questions as we go, and so there are absolutely no hidden fees. All right. Can I bring my own trailer? And if so, do you pay extra? Yeah, for sure. You can definitely do so. You can definitely bring your own trailer. And it does pay different. You go from a 75% payout to an 85% payout. So yeah, that's not a problem. If you're actually don't have a current trailer at the moment, may I suggest what our individuals have done here? What they actually do is they onboarded using our trailer. These guys spend about a good time with us, and now after several months, they will level up and buy their own trailer. What they had all along was the purchasing power to do so. They just wanted to get a feel, make sure that the dispatch and iron out all those wrinkles that come along with onboarding with a new company and so forth. So about a year of that, and now it's time to re-up. They know exactly what kind of work we're always going to. They're comfortable with their dispatcher, like the paper loads if they're doing that, and you're getting that food grade trailer and all that good stuff that comes along with that. They're very comfortable. They know the ins and outs of the business and how we do it, and we mesh together very nicely. I would suggest you onboard with our trailer. You always have that purchasing power in your back pocket, know when to execute it. So when you're ready, you pull that trigger, and we have no problem with that. Okay. All right. So diving into a little bit about these questions now are going to be more operations in the dispatch rather than the contracts and agreements that we just discussed. So, uh, how many loads per week does an average owner operator actually run? I like we said, we got guys who could do heavy miles, or like they like the long miles, so they're doing two, and then the other guys are liking to do a little bit more. So it just depends on how you're going to run your business. It could be between 4 and 5. So it just depends on how your style is. Remember, we customize this type of dispatching to the owner operator. Guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Put this content in front of future owner operators to be, guys who are thinking about buying their own truck. There's a wealth of information on our Super Trucker podcast. Make sure they subscribe and hit that bell icon. It covers everything from 2290s plates, permits, all the way to buying a truck, everything they can think of. A wealth of information there that they could take advantage of. All right, guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and smash that like button. It helps the algorithm put this content in front of the right people. All right, so if I refuse a load, will that affect my loads that I get offered later? Yes and no. And the reason I kind of hesitate on that is so not because of some kind of punishment that is happening. It's because of a market. All right, so if you're waiting all day, let's just as an example to get out of Florida, right? If you're waiting all day long for that better load that pays 10 cents more a mile or whatever the situation, you will have less opportunity or less options by the end of the day, if any at all. So it's not that you're being punished for that. It's the market. This is quick, fast, move the truck. Let's go. We got to look for money where money exists. So So no, it's not that anybody will punish you for not taking the loads later on. It's a matter of what the market is, what the market is doing, where you are in, what part of where you are on the map, what part of the country. Um, Sometimes it's better to wait, sometimes it's not. It just depends. And again, that all comes down to that relationship with your dispatcher. All right, so here we go. Uh, do you assign me to one dispatcher, or do you work in a pool of them? All right, this is actually pretty much a common question along the ways. I have seen where a lot of people do come here. When they come in person, they want to make it a tangible experience, right? They want to sit in the dispatch room, meet who it is, see the operation, see the trailers and all of that, because a lot of these, they complain that they're getting dispatched from people that are from overseas. They're not even here. They don't understand the market. They don't understand traffic. They don't understand this. They don't understand that. So I think that's why having an open door policy does very well. So yes, you will have a dedicated dispatcher here. We pride ourselves on that. There is a pool of dispatchers there, but your point of contact is one guy or one person, right? And the reason we have that pool of dispatchers, right, is because we like to keep that dispatcher to truck ratio in your favor. As an owner operator, you want to make sure that dispatcher is paying attention to all the details so that you can be successful. And why there's a pool is because the energy in that room. They're sharing ideas. They're balancing potential loads off each other. One dispatcher may not actually have a driver in a certain area, but he got a call from his broker that he does that he does this type of work. That he works with him daily. So the broker calls him if he's got a truck. Now he doesn't, but a coworker may have, and so there's another Voyager truck right there, and now that synergy that exists, that's what happens there. That's why you need that pool. So ideas are being shared, different thought processes are coming across, and you can make better results happen. So yeah, for sure. So I would say it's kind of a balance. You do have a dedicated person for your benefit. You get to resolve your issues a lot quicker. You get that dedicated attention, but there is a pool of dispatchers where they're sharing ideas and so forth. And you know what? It's good to have healthy competition, because who could put more money on a truck? You guys stand to benefit from that, right? So you want that healthy competition. You want that dispatcher to have that entrepreneurial spirit, competitiveness, because that's what it takes to get as much money as you can from a broker. So we always welcome that type of attitude from a dispatcher, and obviously you're going to benefit from something like that. All right, do you allow me to book loads while I'm still under one, or do you have to wait? So this one here, again, your dispatcher is the one booking the load. You're not self-dispatching, but yes, we will book you while you're still under one. There is no need for that. Again, we go back to the beginning of the show where we were talking about, that proving ourselves and getting to know each other, which really comes down to, understanding how an individual operates. So let me tell you what they're actually looking for, right? So in that first week, you're getting to know how the dispatcher is running you, right? So you're kind of seeing what areas he's sending you to. You're kind of seeing, a pattern of, what brokers this cat likes to use, who's his customers, and so forth. So you're getting to familiarize yourself with that. At the same time, they're familiarizing themselves with, how many miles do you run on a daily basis, right? Some guys may run nights, some guys are days. You're looking at, can this guy show up on time? I get it. Everybody runs a little different. That's what you have to understand. So while you're getting to know that determines, once that's completed, that determines how far out you can actually pre-book a truck, right? Because if a guy doesn't show up on time, and he does much better in the open windows, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's more effective to actually look for those loads that have those open windows, because that's where he's going to thrive in. So you just have to accommodate. You have to be adaptable. You have to be creative in that sense. And it is what it is. Welcome to trucking. Not everybody is the same. Not every truck will run the same. This is a people business at the end of the day. So here you go. All right. So do you provide physical damage insurance, or do I need to shop for it myself? So you will have to shop for that physical damage. However, you're not alone on that. We actually help you out with that. So part of the orientation is going to be the following. We are actually going to put you in contact with a few people. Obviously, key players in the market. True North, shoot up and get a quote. We have a connection with a broker that can also get you other quotes on the table, and we're going to lay them all out in front of you. Some require no down payment, some require a down payment, and you're going to see which one is going to best fit your business. Uh, so at that point, it is your decision as your business owner. And why do we do it this way? It's much more valuable for you to have your own physical damage. That way, if for whatever reason, right, whatever ever reason that you had to move around or anything like that, you're never finding yourself in this like no man's land without insurance or shopping around again. Yes, I get it. There are carriers that can offer you better rates on a physical damage, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to write, nothing to write home about. It's just I would want to have it on my own as an owner operator. I am controlling the situation. And I know that I got physical damage because if my truck is financed and the bank is requiring that, I'm never in this awkward position that they either got canceled or I just don't have insurance. I would like to control that a little bit more, especially since I'm the one paying for it anyway. So as an owner operator, that's a good thing to have under your belt. And actually, you'll be surprised at what kind of quotes you get. You'll never know until you actually shop around. Sometimes we just have the illusion that it's much cheaper if you use the one that the carrier offers. All right. What are the deductibles on accidents cargo claims? 1,000. So keep it very the idea is not to get them, guys. The idea is not to get them. So here we go. Do you require ELDs from a specific vendor, and do you pay for them? So our ELDs are Motive. That's who we use, and we provide them for you at no cost. So you will have access to that. And I do have a lot of guys when they onboard, they're like, oh, I actually came off my own authority, or whatever the situation may be, and I have my own unit, or the previous company made them pay for the unit, perhaps. And can't use that unit. So it's non-transferable. We provide it for you at no charge. So I don't know. I guess that's a paperweight at some point for someone, but they actually don't allow that. So we keep it simple. All right. All right, so guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, put this content in front of other fellow owner operators and or owner operators to be. So if you actually know a company driver who is thinking about jumping into this owner operator world of trucking, let them know that we exist. Please subscribe, send them over to Super Trucker Podcast, and hit that bell icon. All right. Anybody out there actually, where are you at? Where you delivering? I got a few people on the show. All right, so a couple more questions just because people are asking. Here we go. How fast do settlements pay out? Same week, or do we wait? So what we're doing is just like business as usual. We're always, a week behind for processing. We have a very, very effective way of doing this. So we do direct deposit every Tuesday. So the reason we actually do it that way for our guys is because most of our guys are, whether they're going home or not, they're going to 30 forward over the weekend, right? Just so we can start on a Monday with a fresh clock. And so what we do here is on Friday mornings is when they're usually the ideal situation. You're delivering on a Friday morning nice and early and picking up that reload. You're going to have anywhere from 12 to 1,400 miles, depending on the strength of that owner operator, what they can and cannot do. So post up by like Saturday afternoon, 34, deliver Monday morning. Anything delivered on a Monday from over the weekend will make that pay cycle. So it's going to make it. You did the miles, time, fuel, all of that. Your business deserves the cash flow for it. So that's why we do it on the Tuesdays. Monday midnight is that cutoff. All right. And then there you go. And then it's every Tuesday after that. So it's pretty quick. One of the fastest in the business. And here you go. You benefit from that, and you're getting that cash flow going over to you. All right. What's the breakdown of deductions, insurance, trailer, rent, plates? Okay, so here we go. We'll go over that. Obviously, we also go over that in orientation, so people have it. So there is no hidden fees. Again, guys, we are all about that transparency. All right, so grab a pen and a pad. Here we go. It's kind of commingled with this next question. Do you charge escrow? So if so, how much, and do I get it back? Yes, you do. So we'll break this down. So number one, our escrow 1,500, very easy, 150 a week for 10 weeks. I do have guys who pay it up front, or you can do 150 for 10 consecutive weeks, and then that's it. It's in the bag. All right. Trailer. So the way we do the trailer is $50 a week, and that will cover all the maintenance on the trailer, brakes, tires, 90-day inspections, everything that comes along with that. Wear and tear on that trailer is going to be covered under the $50. Now, I know probably somebody is going to ask out there, what if I take a week off? No, you're not paying the $50 for that week that you're off. All right. So you're good to go. Usually when guys are taking off a week or more like that, what they're doing is they'll bring the trailer to the yard. They stage it here, and then it's worry free. They could do their vacation without worrying about anything happening to that trailer, and so forth. And they take advantage of the free parking that's here. So we got 150 a week for the escrow for 10 weeks, and then you got $50 on a weekly basis. They also ask about plates. So the plates are going to, if you jump on our plates, it's 200 a week for 10 consecutive weeks. That gets you plated for an entire year. So as an example, if you were actually buying a plate today, August 20th, you would have a plate for August 20th of next year. All right. So that's an entire year of worry free, nice and easy, stay the course and stay earning. And then at that point, you can renew and get your own or whatnot. We cross that bridge when we're there. But nevertheless, it's 200 a week for 10 weeks. All right. So that actually is that's a benefit. We get you plated in one day, nice and easy. You just need a valid 2290 and a copy of the title, and bada bing, we get that done. That's not a problem. All right. Insurance. So the cargo and the liability is already part of the package deal. So in that 25%, you're good to go. It's in that package deal. All right. So there wouldn't be any additional. ELD, as we talked about, is part of the deal. There's no additional charge for that. All right. The other deductions that you would see this would be more of a variable. It would just depend, is the fuel, obviously. So whatever you're using on fuel, you're going to see that come out on a weekly basis. But that's given, right? So again, your weekly deductions are going to be, it's only going to change depending on the person. So for example, if somebody brings their own plate to the table, their weekly deduction is $200 for 10 weeks because they're paying $150 for the escrow and $50 for the plates. And after 10 weeks, it drops down to $50. For somebody who wants, who is using our plates and wants to jump on the program, their deduction is $400, $150 in escrow, $50 for the trailer, and $200 for the plates for 10 weeks. And after 10 weeks, they drop down to $50 a week, and then that would be it. So that's the breakdown to that. Those are the only deductions, that we have here. So there you go, guys. If you have questions about that, 863-342-5171. Give us a call, and we'll be glad to dive in deeper with you. All right. So yes, escrow is there. When do we give back escrow? We give it back in 90 business days. And the reason for that, most people, so here's the reason behind that. When someone is leaving, there's a couple of things that we're waiting for things to happen, right? Just simple stuff. Tolls. Were there any toll violations coming in? Was the IFTA already accounted for? Right, the IFTA is deducted every quarter based on the miles and so forth. So you would see that every quarter. So it's not a weekly deduction, but every quarter, once a quarter, you're going to see the IFTA. So that has to be accounted for. Any kind of underpayments from a broker because let's say somebody didn't track or something like that. So those are the things that are getting ironed out, and you just got to see that. A lot of these customers pay 60, they can even range up to 90-day payout. So it's just good, making sure that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted and we're good to go. Okay. Where do most of the loads come from? Is it direct customers or brokers? It's a combination. We have these dedicated brokers that are always working with our dispatchers. They have this alliance to each other, and again, it's a relationship where it has to benefit the owner operator. Having a relationship with, let's say, a broker just because you give them a truck and you're never questioning the rate, that is not a good relationship. You want to be in the ballpark where you are actually, offering the truck, however, at the best possible rate possible for that. Then and only then are they willing, can they get your truck? So you got to be paying attention to that. Um, so it's a combo. How much control do I have of choosing my own freight? None of it's not going to be 100. It's not going to be forced dispatch. But again, what we talk about in the orientation is what is the financial goal? What are we trying to accomplish? We have to have a goal so that we have a target. We know where we're going. So if we're targeting a certain gross, then that's what's getting presented, not just necessarily the areas you like to actually run, maybe predominantly, but what does it take to hit this number? If we can hit your goal in that region, let's rock and roll. Nobody's asking anything. But again, if you gave me a goal, this is what we have to hit, and that market isn't as sweet as it was last week, and we got to change things up a little bit, then we got to do so in order to hit these goals. So yeah, but you choose. What's the average deadhead percentage? Obviously, just like anywhere else, you want to keep this to a minimum. So it's pretty low, but at the same time, you might find yourself, that doesn't mean deadhead is always bad, right? As long as the rate that whatever you're picking up, the rate has to be strong enough to offset that deadhead, and then it doesn't really matter. But it has to be strategic, and just running around deadhead and to a weak ass rate, and then that was for nothing. That's inefficient. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about calculated. Having a plan, talking with your dispatcher. Why are we doing this? What's the value to it, and so forth. So it's a combo. All right. Do you allow dispatch to DAT, truck stop, or your load board? Well, your dispatcher is going to do all that. Your dispatcher is working with you. That's your that's what you're paying this cat for. He's actually the guy that's posting a truck in different markets, seeing where what region is paying better. He's looking at the other dispatchers and comparing notes and seeing how can we get to your goal the quickest and most effective way, so that the benefit is to you. So owner operators here don't have to dispatch themselves. We actually got that dedicated person to do that for you. All right. What happens if a load cancels last minute? Am I stuck eating the cost? I guess that comment sounds like somebody didn't do their job. If they're canceling last minute, you should definitely be getting that truck order not used, and then moving on. So unfortunately, these things do happen in the market. It's just about the team behind you and what they're willing to do about it once these things do happen. So guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, put this content in front of other owner operators, help the algorithm push it forward, especially for my people who are thinking about buying a truck. There might be something we're talking about here that you didn't think of, and now you're going to be that much better off for it. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, smash that bell icon so you get notified. We drop videos Monday to Friday after 5 o'clock. Pretty good content out there for you guys. All right. Let me sip on my caffeine, man. So, all right. How much flexibility do I have setting my own schedule? You have full flexibility on that. Just understand that a business owner, any kind of that just comes at a price to you. And what I mean by that is, somebody wants to run local, boom, he can do that. He's just going to see local money. Somebody wants to run, home every weekend, not a problem. You're just going to see that OTR. Every adjustment you make as a business owner, you just comes at a cost to you. So you just got to be able to see what you could afford. But you pick your schedule. Are there regions we require you to run? We're only going to require in that, and it's through conversation and dialogue to hit your goals. So if you sent me on a mission to, go clock 7,500 this week, right? So I'm only going to be able to do it going to certain regions, right? That's the honest truth. So yeah, they're going to require that if you want that goal. But again, if the market is in a certain situation where I can do it running in the region that you prefer, not a problem. Why would I not do that? Right. But the idea is the goal that you mentioned, right? That's what I'm chasing. So here we go. All right. Do you force dispatch or can you turn down loads? Uh, yeah, I mean, you can definitely turn down loads. It's not that you're getting punished for anything for that. Just understand there's two ways about it. It could be somebody turning down a load because of safety, just because, hey, I can't make that on time. There's no way I'm going to make that load, the pickup, or it's just not going to happen. So we don't want anybody accepting a load that has any kind of negative safety implications on that, right? So you have that freedom. In addition to that, is somebody turning it down because you know they just don't like the rate? Okay, there are other loads. That's fine. It's just a synergy that has to happen. It just can't be no, 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 and expect something that just doesn't exist to pop up. So, but yeah, you have the freedom to turn down the loads. There's no punishment to that. What can happen is booking a load and then canceling it. That's a different avenue. That's a whole different ballpark. That nobody wants to be in that situation. All right. So how often do your owner operators get home on average? And again, that's what I'm saying, guys. Everybody runs different. Everybody we customize this dispatch. So really, I'm just trying to say that shit don't matter what my guys are doing. It's what you're looking for in this particular question, right? What does that matter? How are you planning on running your business? We can meet those needs. Let's go. All right. 863-342-5171. Give us a call. We talk about it and we make something happen. All right. Do you offer fuel discounts? And if so, how much below pump? So the beauty about this, right? We got this badass program out there for you guys. So what it does is it gives you two different fuel cards, which means you get two different apps, right? So what we're going to do is going to run two fuel cards, two apps, and you're going to trip plan on each app independently. And you're going to see both savings on there, right? It can range from, 20 cents all the way to 75 cents off on the gallon, right? It just depends on where you're going to be fueling. So you get to trip plan it accordingly. Sometimes one fuel card is a lot stronger in the Midwest than the other one, right? So you get to pick which one is going to help your bottom line. And because this exists, we got guys who could save $400 or $500 on a weekly basis, hands down, without an issue. So what that means to you is, as long as you're using it and you're checking it out, you're going to reap the benefit of that. That's just pure profit, money on the table that you're taking right back. It would be foolish not to take advantage of this. However, I have ran into people that don't really pay attention to it as much as they should, and that's just leaving money on the table. So imagine that, man. Like, you're fighting for a better rate on the load. So you can actually have an extra $200-$300 and you get it. Well, man, you're giving it right back just by not looking at that fuel card program. So guys, I beg you, take advantage of that. Always, even if you have a fuel card now and you think it's bullshit, look at it, check it out. There is tremendous amount of fuel savings. Make sure you're taking advantage of that. All right. Do you provide trailer maintenance or is it on the owner operator? So again, guys, the way we do it, you are not renting this trailer where some places offer you the rental. And the problem with that is, not only are you paying a weekly rental for that bad boy, $300-$400, God knows what they're charging you, you are also responsible for all maintenance, tires, brakes, all that stuff is going to be on you. And so we simplified that process for your benefit. So the way we're going to do it is as follows, right? It's $50 a week, and that will cover the brakes, tires, anything maintenance related to that trailer is going to cover it. Is worry-free. You just got to communicate accordingly. You see irregular wear and tear on a tire, snap a picture of that, send it over to your dispatcher, safety department, get it to the right hands, and it'll be addressed at no cost to you. All you have to do is communicate. All right. So that's the easiest way to do that program. We keep it simple. All right. You just do your part. So let's say you're picking up a trailer for the first time. Walk around that bad boy, pictures, 360 video, boom. No damage that you didn't do will ever be charged to you. So again, when you go and rent a trailer, I share this story all the time where a gentleman was going to onboard with us, pretty solid dude. And Mike was talking to him, and he wasn't able to onboard with us, but not because he didn't qualify, not because of anything like that. It was just too expensive to walk away. And what he meant by that was he needed to pony up about $4,500 to be able to return that trailer, because he had to change tires. They weren't illegal tires. They were just not in this exact condition as how we picked it up. So, and the brakes, he had to redo the brakes. Why? Because they were already worn, and he has to put them back to the way he picked them up. So these charges added up real quick to $4,500 to walk away. So he was kind of like, it's not the moment for him. So just pay attention to that. All right, guys. That's that. So guys, make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit that like button. It helps the algorithm put this video in front of other owner operators, and they will get a benefit from it. So please help a brother out. What is your policy if a truck breaks down? Okay. So what happens typically when a gentleman breaks down, right? So let's say that there's a breakdown. First, nobody panics. All right. So let's find out what the details are. Are we loaded? Are we not? Like, let's really dissect this. So there's no one silver bullet that will accommodate everything. Everything is going to be situational. So let's say a guy breaks down on a loaded trailer. All right. So first, safety is also going to help and start calling for, breakdown, truck down or whatever it is, and try to get people out there to help. What the dispatcher is actually doing is they're trying to estimate how long you're going to be down. So they're already emailing the broker, trying to see if they can extend that delivery time so that you don't become a work-in, so that you don't end up sitting on this load for fucking 2-3 days. And now it's even worse. So we're just mitigating every angle of it to try to help you get back up on the road. And if you're participating inside of the voluntary maintenance program, where these guys are depositing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%, depends how aggressive you want to be, into that account. Now you have access to those funds available to you on the spot. EFS check, we cut that right away to you. So you're never left alone to figure that out. And then the solutions are, we're going to run all kinds of scenarios, right? Best case scenario, you're back up and running, and you deliver your own load. That is always the best way to end that type of issue. But sometimes they don't play out that way. So what we do is we're also running plan B, right? We're seeing who else we may have in the area, who could pick up that loaded trailer, who can deliver it for you, and you get his empty. So it's situational. You're never left alone on something like that. You're not left alone to sink or swim. All right. So we definitely work with our guys, and it's the details that matter to make sure that you're successful. All right. All right. So who pays for the cargo claim? So the idea is, let's not get any cargo claims. Let's avoid everything. That's why we do it from the most simplistic thing of, it begins with even as simple as, like, when a guy's getting assigned BOL or any kind of OS&D that is marked on there, like, why? Don't just say yes. What is it? Do we have pictures? Because although that sounds simple, you can actually run into a bigger problem later on. So let's say it's just a box of staplers. The shit don't even matter, and the box is crushed, and the guy writes that damages. Well, what does that do? And he still takes it. He still takes it. It still got put on the shelf. That bad boy's probably sold already, but now the factoring company or the broker's not paying because it says damages, and they want to investigate that and actually put a claim. And now it's a $2,000 stapler when retail is $799. So we're avoiding all of these things that have happened already by taking the pictures. We have a policy. We have a process to everything that you learn in our orientation. And again, that's why our orientation is effective. We're talking about these things that actually matter, that's out there. But nevertheless, there's obviously a deductible, and then there's insurance for that. But the idea is not to end up on these in accruing loss runs, right? So here we go. All right. How do you handle accidents? Is it immediate termination or case by case? So this is always case by case. Shit happens. It's trucking. Not everything out there is going to be your fault. And it just depends. It just depends on the scenario and what transpired and if the person was cited and so forth. So all of these things are done on a case by case. Nothing is done. Nothing is Sorry about that. Nothing is done. Like, hey, everybody is terminated who's had an accident. So it doesn't work that way. Do you provide safety training, or is it just don't get in trouble? Well, the safety training is done literally like every day that we're working together. So for example, we do have a log person who's watching the logs, making sure that for example we're keeping an eye on hours of service. So is the pre-trip being done properly? Is there enough time? Are you on duty when you fuel? They're just kind of scrolling through this and watching it and watching it. And why is that? Because, when you're audited, this is what they're coming for. Regardless of what our thought process is, or if you convince me that it's a good idea and you're right, it's not a big deal. None of that matters when DOT shows up. You have to be compliant. We have to be compliant. And so this training and reminding is done on a daily basis. I don't want to hyper focus just on that example, but it's for you to get an idea, right? What does that green book tell us, man? It's monthly maintenance has to be collected. Um, you know, we have to be compliant on the hours of service, the DQ files, compliance on that. Roadside inspections. Are we handling them properly after we get them? Is everything in order? Is all those T's are crossed? And there's so much that comes along with that the policies are built about always being compliant. And so then that's the constant training, because it's complaciveness that gets us into these problems, right? So here we go. Because I think that's the real meat and potatoes of it. Because sometimes you're gonna have different scenarios where, like, we become complacent about something and we no longer think it's important, and then it is until something happens. So here we go. All right. Can you show me real settlement statements from current owner operators? Yes, 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 yes. We actually do this all the time. And I actually, and as we mentioned before, that's why I believe this open door policy is such a success. And people do come in here and sit down and take a look at it. We furnish them, we throw them on the table. It's the last three settlements, these current weeks, this current market. We're not going to be that place that is actually showing a guy that shit from pandemic time and faking it, and none of that, man. You're getting original rate confirmations here directly from the customer. As a matter of fact, I even show them that as we're sitting down and having a conversation. We'll show them all the Raycons and how they all look different, guys. So if you're being dispatched out there, all your Raycons should actually look different. Even going through orientation, right? You hear horror stories that are out there. I've even heard situations where, the guy's at the wrong address, the person's at the wrong address, and it's confusing. Calling the broker, and they're like, "What are you even talking about?" Turns out they photoshopped that Raycon so bad that it was actually an address from a different load, and so that's the confusion. Now, who's paying for that shit and getting the deadhead and all that complication that comes with that? Transparency is the best business practice for us. That's how we do it. That's how we handle it. So if you're not getting that and you want to participate in a better environment, 863-342-5171. Give us a call. I got a question here. What driving experience does a driver need? 2 years. What do you got? Please give my recruiter a call, 863-342-5171. Let's talk about it. All right. So what else we got? Okay, so we got the same. If things don't work out, how hard is it to leave? Any penalties? So straight off, right off the bat, we do require 60 days. That's just the kind of getting to know each other, right? Onboarding any owner operator costs money associated to that. So if somebody decided to bounce, $500 early termination fee. 60 days is not a lot of time to ask somebody to stick around to make sure that this works out, right? We have to give each other a fair shot. We got to get to know each other. We got to get past that little learning curve in order to see how this is going to play out. So that's why we require that. Remember, you got your escrow, you got plates, So it just depends on the scenario. You got some responsibilities that you have to consider. But again, the idea behind it all is to make sure that you put things back where you found them, either in the same or better condition than you found it, and then there's no hidden penalties. So all of this gets discussed in orientation. Actually, even when you call the recruiter 863-342-5171, everything is spelled out. There is no hidden fees. All right. Why should I lease on with you instead of just booking my own loads with my authority? So the answer is to that is because you would be leveraging some liabilities to a company, and then you would be protecting yourself. So what would be some value to do this, right? Insurance costs. Insurance costs is on the rise, man. It is closing big boys down. It is closing one-man armies down. Like, that is one of the toughest things that's out there. And so now, and they're going up. They're not going down. They're not going in the other direction. And I've seen people get canceled for as simple as bad roadside inspections. The guy changes his license from Connecticut to Florida. That was just that was enough to get a cancellation letter, and then good luck. And then even onboarding and getting a new policy was that much more expensive for him because it was canceled on him. And then there's a waiting period to get it because he's, so that's one. So insurance is just one. Safety and compliance, right? That does that guy, can he pass his audit? Is he good at that? Does he need to find somebody to do that for him? Factoring, somebody is managing that. Let me tell you, what's happening right now as we're dealing with these people. So let's say it's right now in the morning, people have credit, and then we run their credit by this afternoon, and it went on, now they don't have credit. So there's two ways that this can happen, and you have to pay attention. So number one, let's say the people have $25,000 credit. Cool. It's one thing if you booked enough loads with them that you ate up that money, right? That might be one. And their credit limit may be actually that low because they pay out very often. That's one scenario. That you can kind of work with them and maybe get a credit increase or something like that. I'm not talking about that. Like, that's kind of business. That's just business as usual. What I'm talking about is if they went from 25,000 to zero, and the factoring company actually put their credit to zero, now you got a red flag. And all this can happen within 8 hours. So you have to be careful of what's going on out there. And what if you are dispatching yourself? You've always been working with that broker, and they have the sweet loads that you love, that take you to your region, that fit the home time. But now you got to get creative and think outside the box because you ain't getting paid. So that's another reason that you can do that. So leveraging all of these things, and the idea behind that is to keep your business moving forward. That is the whole concept behind what we do here. Guys run it differently. Some guys want to do it all on their own. Some guys want to leverage and lease on with Voyager Nation and use our trailer. Some guys will have their trailer. You can slice and dice this in so many ways. What you really have to pay attention to is, one, what you're taking home. That's the biggest factor. And then number two, what are you good at? Are you good at multitasking and doing all of this, or are you just good on focusing on getting things delivered and running, making sure your hours of service are good, and that's your bread and butter, and that's your expertise, and that's where you focus. So then you want to outsource anything else that gets in your way and that you're not good at. So it doesn't necessarily mean somebody failed. It just means that we all have different capacities and capabilities. You just got to find what suits you, right? It's the same if you're looking at a carrier, right? And they're, they have a factoring company, so they just don't want that billing department. All right, my people. So that's my show today. I got to get to my day job. Please like, share, subscribe. Make sure you're getting that done. We appreciate every single person who's been on here. And join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. and we will see you then. All right, everyone, be safe, drive safe. We will talk soon.